Today we will venture into the world of rivers to explore and uncover the amazing and terrifying secrets they hold. If you thought the strangest and most mysterious things only dwell in the depths of the oceans, you were greatly mistaken. Rivers, with their flowing streams and mysterious underwater worlds, hide no less fascinating discoveries. With you is Facts Room, and these are amazing river discoveries that are hard to believe. Enjoy watching, and of course, let's go! During the clearing of sand quarries near the dried-up banks of the Nile River, archaeologists discovered the amazing remains of ancient reptiles. Among them were 5 heads and 5 completely intact bodies. This discovery stunned the team of archaeologists. They also made another exciting discovery several years ago in Australia. There, fossilized remains of an ancient crocodile named Confractosuchus soroctanos were found. This crocodile is considered a broken dinosaur killer and lived on our planet about 95 million years ago. These findings raise questions about the origin and evolution of crocodile species. No one is sure about the identification of the strange creature called the tiny humanoid alien that was discovered in the famous Utah River area, Zone 51. However, one woman, spending the day in this place hoping to find something strange, was shocked when she saw the creature hanging on a rock. It looked like a tiny human, but its creepy features included a striped body. The woman uploaded the video to the internet, and an online debate began about what it could be. Some called it a mannequin, but many claimed it was a real alien creature she caught. Several years ago in Vietnam, a guy discovered an interesting object on the riverbank. He decided to investigate this object, which reminded him of the skeleton of an unknown creature. It had a shapeless head set on a twisted body and long, skinny legs. This structure was so mysterious that it did not resemble any known animals. The mystery remained unsolved until the object was brought to experts for analysis. By that time, the guy had already disappeared. It turned out that this unknown skeleton was actually part of an old tree trunk, which had bent in an unusual way and took the form of some fantastical creature. In different parts of the world, most rivers dry up, and when the water disappears, it reveals shocking revelations from the past. Several years ago in Texas, when one of the rivers dried up, a huge triangular-shaped footprint was discovered, supposedly left by an Antrinosaur cantosaurus, a massive prehistoric lizard with high spikes, weighing about 6,350 kilograms. This place was once part of a seashore where this dinosaur lived about 113 million years ago. Now its footprint allows us to see a rare Buddhist statue, which can only be seen once in a lifetime. But not only ancient footprints and bones, drought has also brought us some of the most amazing structures in our history. In China, due to increasing heat and a sharp drop in the water level of the Yangtze River, 3 Buddhist statues appeared on the surface after 600 years. They were discovered on the highest part of an island in the southwestern part of the country and were presumably built during the Ming and Qing dynasties. One of the statues depicts a monk sitting on a lotus pedestal. Thus, we get a unique insight into historical evidence of ancient wisdom and tradition. Several years ago, near a river in the Dominican Republic in the Caribbean region, a huge fish was found that can be called a real monster fish. Its size was so gigantic that it was lifted by a group of more than 5 people. This amazingly large specimen of fish, known as a Goliath grouper, was accidentally caught in a fishing net and found dead. Given the unusualness of such a catch, it was decided to transfer it for further study to a center for in-depth analysis of the cause of the fish's death. In Mexico, a fisherman discovered an extremely strange creature, a cyclops fish. But this was not an ordinary cyclops, it was an albino. This fish was white in color and had a terrifying single eye. The fisherman found it hard to believe his eyes when he saw this unusual creature. The cyclops fish was found in its mother's stomach along with its other siblings. It was the only creature with a functioning eye at the front of its head. This rare albino cyclops fish was recognized as a unique discovery of its kind. Unfortunately, it did not live long and soon died. A Japanese fisherman discovered a very rare shark caught on his line. He brought it on his boat and found that it was a living specimen of the prehistoric frilled shark, which was thought to be extinct. This species is known for its habitat at depths of more than 600 meters and usually measures about 2 meters in length. For marine biologists, this was a real treasure find. However, although this shark was interesting to scientists, It turned out to be useless for fishermen since it had no high commercial value. The specimen of the shark, resembling an eel shark, was in very poor physical condition and was swimming in the shallow waters off the coast of Japan, near the city of Shizuoka. Unfortunately, it died just a few hours after being pulled from the water. Nature amazed people when a huge school of fish came to an uninhabited area. Many considered it a bad omen and feared that a disaster was approaching. Biologists conducted research and found that this happened due to a change in the river's current, which usually flowed in a different direction. Likely due to human intervention, the water changed its direction and brought the fish to an unusual place. However, thanks to quick actions, the fish were quickly saved and returned to the river. A guy who was looking for his lost pet accidentally stumbled upon this mysterious creature lying on the muddy ground. From the very beginning, he was puzzled, but soon decided to examine it more closely using a tree branch. It had a strange body covered in pinkish skin, slippery and hard. Its unusual features did not resemble other creatures, and the creature seemed to be the result of a failed scientific experiment, although it was assumed that this might be the rotting body of some amphibian. No one was confident enough to make definite conclusions about the origin of this strange creature. Several years ago, a pair of fishermen noticed an unusual creature in the river that could be a freshwater inhabitant or even a mermaid. During their fishing trip, they saw a huge tail rising from the water at some distance from their boat. At first, they thought it might be a dolphin, but such mammals rarely inhabit such rivers, and the split tail indicated something more mythical and underwater. Another possibility was a seal-hunting fish, but since they only saw the tail, they were sure it was a glimpse of a mermaid hiding in the depths of the river. It was an unforgettable moment for the fishermen, and although they could not see the entire mermaid completely, they were impressed by its presence in the river. Recently in the United Kingdom, a strange creature was discovered on the riverbank. It looked like a dead alien baby or some new species emerging from the water. It had a slimy body and a fish-like structure. The size of this mysterious creature was less than 1 meter. Since no one could determine the exact species of the creature, the authorities were called to the scene. They took it under their care and promised to get more information. However, even after a year, there were no specific conclusions, which increased suspicions that it was indeed something horrifying and mysterious. On the Missouri River, a fisherman from Elkhorn experienced one of the most amazing moments of his life during a fishing trip. After an unsuccessful cast, his bait got stuck on a rock, and he decided to free it by paddling to the spot in a kayak. At that moment, he noticed bones that he first took for the remains of a deer or catfish. He took a photo and returned to fishing. However, when he shared his photos online, it turned out that these bones were actually fossilized remains of a prehistoric fish known as a bulldog. This fish was about 6 meters long and existed about 90 million years ago, in the early Cretaceous period. Recently, some locals discovered fossils that suggest that unicorns, long considered mythical creatures, might have actually existed in the real world. This opens up new possibilities and raises questions about what we know about past life forms. An engineer from Egypt, working on the pyramids, found a skull that he believed belonged to a unicorn. However, scientists are still not entirely sure how real these creatures were. The skull resembled a horse with a large horn above its eyes, but in some aspects, it also resembled rhinoceroses. While walking along the riverbank besides fertile soil, you might sometimes stumble upon remains that allow a glimpse into the past. One researcher, scouting the muddy riverbank in Siberia, discovered a mammoth tusk about 3 meters long. It is believed that this tusk belonged to an ancient giant elephant that lived about 4 to 5 million years ago. This discovery was just the beginning, as further ahead, the researcher discovered a huge skeleton of a mammoth of the same species. Now the tusk, skull, and other prehistoric remains are exhibited in a museum. Regardless of size, the discovery of fossils is always a significant find, especially if they are related to the Miocene epoch, which is one of the earliest geological epochs. The Miocene epoch stretched millions of years ago, and it is from this time that people often find shark teeth and fossils belonging to various shark species. However, scientists claim that alongside sharks, the Miocene epoch is also rich with other incredible fish, reptiles, and wild animals. In this case, the researcher discovered a huge piece of fossil that definitely did not belong to a shark. Therefore, He decided to send it to a research laboratory to learn more about this amazing epic. This fish has an amazing ability to survive in different conditions, even in strong currents or completely without water. It usually inhabits African waters, but when drought strikes, it turns into a mammal and starts breathing air. Therefore, it got the name lungfish. This fish, like most other fish, has gills that help it extract oxygen from water. However, it also has lungs. But since breathing is not the only way to survive in a dry environment, it has another interesting feature, a layer of mucus that surrounds its body. This layer of mucus serves as the main food source during drought, as it contains essential nutrients. Thanks to this, these fish can survive up to a year until the rains come, and they return to the water. Hunger stones were established by German governments in the 1600s during severe droughts. They served as a means of communication between starving people who were seeking food and the government. These stones were placed in various locations and had sharp words carved or written on them, indicating the hunger and suffering people faced. Hunger stones were not only created by the government, but ordinary people also left records on them to warn future generations of the impending disaster. They were thrown into the deep river, and they appeared only when the river dried up enough for them to be seen. So friends, these were amazing river discoveries that are hard to believe. If you liked the episode and want to see something similar, write comments like subscribe to the Facts Room channel, and right now watch one of the previous episodes that appeared on your screen.